This is what Cape Town may have looked like when Captain Jan van Riebeek, in the service of the Dutch East India Company, approached this magnificent setting in 1652. Of course, there were no buildings then, but this view of Table Mountain quickly became famous back in Europe, and eventually worldwide. Many travelers say that Cape Town, the city the Dutch founded here, has the most beautiful setting on earth. Today, Cape Town is South Africa's largest city, although the megalopolis centered on Johannesburg in the interior is larger. Cape Town was destined to become one of South Africa's capital cities. From the top of over 3,000-foot high Table Mountain, Cape Town appears as a modern skyscrapered city. But behind the facade at the foot of the mountain, around the back, lies some of the country's largest and poorest slums, or locations as they're called here. Cape Town's environs are scenically spectacular and environmentally fragile. Suburbs cling to the hillsides of the so-called apostles overlooking the Southern Ocean. This is a Mediterranean climatic environment with chaparral-like vegetation and blue summer skies, but wet, cold winters. The rocky coast, like the climate, is reminiscent of California, but for different reasons. This is not a subduction zone. Rocks and waves, not tectonic forces, are fashioning these shorelines. In the Cape Town hinterland, as in that of San Francisco, wine growing is a leading industry. The Spear Winery is only one of dozens of prestigious estates whose wines, now that South Africa is again connected to the world economy, are being exported to world markets. Compared to Cape Town, Durban has a more tropical environment, a less dramatic setting, and an even more diverse population. The Boer War is remembered rather differently here than it is in the rest of South Africa. This monument, complete with a relief of a war scene, is a reminder of how Britons fell in the Boer War, particularly those who came from the city of Durban and this area. Durban's City Hall has witnessed more than a century of turbulent change in this multicultural city. The province of Natal generally, and the city of Durban particularly, have always been the most English and most British part of South Africa. Many vestiges of the urban landscape of this and other cities in this area are reminders of that. Behind me, a statue of Queen Victoria, erected by the citizens of this town 60 years into her reign. What will happen to these vestiges of the colonial period when the transition that's beginning to occur here will have run its course? In many other African countries, not much is left of what was a formative period in the political map of Africa. You can't walk the streets here without contemplating the future. The city of Durban is a meeting place of many racial groups that are part of the South African mosaic. The Zulu population has occupied this area for hundreds of years. The European population, the whites, came later, and most recently the Asian population, now constituting about 1/3 of the total population here, arrived to work on the sugar plantations and the cotton fields. Today, Durban is South Africa's most important port. It handles goods not only from South Africa itself, but also from Zimbabwe, Zambia, and other countries beyond. This may be the capital of an independent country someday. It's not inconceivable that Natal, in the confusion that will follow the constitutional changes that South Africa is facing, will decide to go its own way. The hinterland of Durban is more spectacular in the interior than along the coast, although KwaZulu-Natal has some fine beaches. Here lies the Valley of 1,000 Hills, home to the Zulu nation and scene of a continuing struggle for political primacy between Zulu traditionalists and African National Congress modernizers in this historic corner of the new South Africa.